Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast brought to you by our friends over at Briar Greaves Insurance. Protecting your assets starts with a company that you can count on. So whether it's auto, homeowners, flood, boaters, or business insurance, there's nobody better in the business to work with than the great people over at Briar Greaves Insurance. For more information about them, go to their website, briargreavesinsurance.com, or give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166. It is a Pewter post-game show this evening after the Bucs have defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers by a score of 17-14 on the back, or the leg, I should say, of a game-winning field goal by Chase McLaughlin. We saw most of the starters at the beginning, which was a lot of fun. Teddy Bridgewater was a lot of fun. Some big plays by the defense helped set up the win. We're going to review everything from the game, both good, bad, ugly, and fantastic. So let's get into it. I'm your host, Matt Patera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place, PewterReport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. Scott, how are we feeling after this second preseason victory by the Bucs?
I think pretty good. If you're Todd Bowles, you have to be extremely happy with these interceptions. I mean, this is a team that had 7 interceptions through 17 regular season games and the playoff game. Didn't have a pick in the playoff game. But 7 in 18 games last year. Matt, I know it's only the preseason. They got 6 interceptions in the first 2 games. Everything that Todd Bowles wanted to come true, preaching, what he even said on the Pewter Report podcast right at the end of the Bucs offseason before the break and heading into training camp. Tighter coverage. It's paying dividends, right? We're seeing tighter coverage, no more cushion. It makes a world of difference. We had 3 interceptions tonight. Zion McCollum, who did not get an interception, probably the only defensive back that didn't get an interception in training camp, but yet he comes up with his first one in the preseason. We'll take it. It counts, right? Kendall Vildor, who I think right now is going to win that backup cornerback job, the veteran job, instead of Bryce Hall. He came up with an interception, led the team with 4 tackles, played really, really well, had another deep pass breakup, and then Antonio Greer setting up the Bucs win with an interception. You know, this was a linebacker that was kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit because we've talked about the great play of the 2 undrafted free agent linebackers, and John Bullock, who had a sack tonight.
Had a good game.
And had a really good game. And Nick Jackson with another sack, chased a quarterback out of bounds. He's got 2 sacks in the preseason plus a pick. So it was time for Antonio Greer to show up, and he did. That was a nice interception. Of course, he fumbled. I don't understand why he changed the ball from the outside hand to the inside hand, but that's a coaching point that I'm sure Mike Caldwell is going to go over. But hey, it worked out in the Bucs' fortunes. And any time you have a kicker like Chase Money McLaughlin, I mean, that's all that needs to be said. He's going to win the game for you.
Hit it right down the middle, like not even like a thought about is it no good? No, it was not just good. It was great. The defense won this game for Tampa Bay, and every single interception that the Bucs had was super important.
It was
Zion McCollum early in the game. First of all, it was great just to see Zion take the ball away for all that he's talked about the interceptions. And
really aggressive play too, Matt.
Yes.
Really aggressive.
Cut in front, which was really important. And it got the Bucs over midfield, which eventually led to the Teddy Bridgewater touchdown to Bucky Irving, which we'll talk about. Bucky and his receiving prowess. Then let's remember the Kendall Vildor. That was probably my favorite interception because that was exactly what Todd Bowles is talking about with being aggressive. He tipped the ball to himself and then made the play. But let's also remember the Steelers were in scoring range. Like they could have put points on the board, which would have made the outcome of the game different. And then, of course, Antonio Greer, that certainly defied the game with the Steelers being in scoring range again, taking the ball the other way, fumble aside, helped the Bucs set up their game-winning field goal. So every single interception that the Bucs had was super, super crucial to what they were doing. Love seeing the aggressiveness by the secondary. Jacob Parrish was in the mix again, a nice pass breakup and a tackle for a loss. Good. 4 sacks by this team. And again, Todd Bowles tried to play vanilla defense with the starters, and I think you can get away with that, obviously. They had some pressure. Let's remember, it wasn't Aaron Rodgers tonight. It was Mason Rudolph.
Right.
Some pressure by the defense early on. But then when he started bringing the blitz, they really started getting Steelers quarterbacks and Skylar Thompson as well. Really, as far as the starters go, the only guy that had an issue starting for Tampa Bay was Jamel Dean, who got beat deep.
Yes.
Got beat in the end zone as well, and the Steelers touchdown. But overall, a great performance by the starters on defense for Tampa Bay. I thought there was enough pressure, and obviously the secondary really stole the show with those who are still available in the freaking secondary.
I'll tell you what, Jacob Parrish with another pass breakup, perfectly played ball, no penalty, had 3 tackles in the game. Just a sure tackler. Right? He's what you call an ankle biter. He goes low, but he does that to wrap up the legs. He doesn't just go low and hit the thigh. He was very adept at doing that at Kansas State. I watched every single game he played as a Kansas State alum, and he is a very good open field tackler. And that's why I thought the move from the outside cornerback position, which he played a lot at K-State, inside to nickel, whereas Rondé Barber, who was doing the Bucs broadcast tonight, the best nickel corner in the entire NFL history, he told me a long time ago, he's like, you're essentially the third down linebacker. He's like, you can call it a nickel cornerback all you want, but you're at the linebacker level. You're in the slot. You're essentially a linebacker. And that's why Rondé Barber had so many tackles. And Jacob Parrish off to a really good start. You mentioned Jamel Dean, and Carl here says, make Jamel Dean cornerback 3. What's the problem with that, Matt? What's the problem with making Jamel Dean cornerback 3 right now?
Well, I think maybe you would probably want to have Benjamin Morrison as your starting cornerback if he's replacing Jamel Dean. But the problem, Scott, is that Benjamin Morrison hasn't practiced in several weeks now.
Yep. You know, you hope that this is just kind of like a getting acclimated to Florida thing for Benjamin Morrison, but it was a hamstring injury that caused him to miss the end of the Bucs mandatory minicamp. This hamstring injury has cost him now 2 weeks of practice and 2 very important preseason games.
Yeah.
And, you know, right now it's Jamel Dean by default because he's not hamstrung. And you hope that Benjamin Morrison can get used to the heat and humidity. He's from Notre Dame, right? He's not a South Florida guy, and sometimes that doesn't mean anything, as we've seen Kalijah Cansey, who's from the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area, right? He had some calf issues. Hopefully, knock on wood, they're behind him.
Yeah.
But you just hope the Bucs didn't draft another oft-injured cornerback.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe between Benjamin Morrison and Jamel Dean combined, you can get 17 games of pretty decent play out of both of them splitting time. I don't know, but I'm with you, Matt. It's been disappointing that Benjamin Morrison has not had the chance really to assert himself, because with his talent and his ball hawking ability, I think he probably beats out Jamel Dean if he could get on the field and actually prove he could do it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I wish you could take Jamel Dean's history of being pretty good in one-on-one coverage and man-to-man coverage against top wide receivers, and Benjamin Morrison's ability to take the football away, which we've also seen in training camp again when he was available, and he certainly did it at Notre Dame. And then another thing that kind of plays into this as well and adds into everything is all of the other injuries. You could consider maybe Jacob Parrish playing on the outside at corner, but he's going to have to play in the slot now because, unfortunately, J.J. Roberts, as Pewter Report broke the news earlier today, is going to be out for the season. He goes on season-ending IR
that's a loss,
with the knee injury. So Christian Izien becomes that much more important because he is your next guy up at safety with Antoine Winfield Jr., who hasn't practiced in a couple of days, and Tyke Smith. You need to have him kind of there ready to go. But if J.J. Roberts was around, you could put Roberts in the slot. Or you keep Roberts as a backup safety along with Kayvon Merriweather too. And maybe you keep Christian Izien in the slot and move Parrish out to corner if you were really that low on Jamel Dean. But now you can't afford to do that because Izien, you don't want to risk him getting injured in the slot, and then he can't back up at safety with Winfield and Tyke Smith. So there's a lot of moving parts, and it really sucked to see what happened with J.J. Roberts because he was having such a tremendous training camp. And it sucks that it happened during special teams too. I mean, he hobbled off the field after. He was limping. You never know at that point if it's going to be season ending or if it's just you're up a little bit. But I mean, you get that news with JJ Roberts, and then freaking Jalen McMillan is flipping on the back of his head and his neck and everything like that.
Yeah.
There were some scary moments today, even before the game with JJ Roberts, and then during the game too.
Well, yeah, and with McMillan, you certainly hope that he's not going to play next week because why would you want to play him? Because you've got the Buffalo game coming up later on the schedule. He doesn't need to play. We know that Jalen McMillan is going to be a key contributor this year, especially early on without Chris Godwin. And so he has 3 weeks now to essentially recover and get ready for that week 1 opener. Even if he has a concussion, hopefully he would be out of concussion protocol by then. But yeah, you mentioned JJ Roberts. We did break the story. Had a feeling that it was not good because probed our sources Thursday, Friday, earlier this morning, and it was crickets. And finally got word that he was out for the year, and it was the exact same pattern with David Walker. I'm only laughing not at the injury, but just because it was crickets for days on David Walker, and it was the exact same crickets. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. Usually, when I probe some sources, they'll say, yeah, we'll see, or hopefully not too long, or maybe day to day or week to week. Nothing usually means bad, and it certainly was bad for JJ Roberts. This is 2 promising rookies that would have made the team, that would have contributed this year too, that actually would have gotten on the field and played some really good football. I think this was a situation where Jacob Parrish was 1A at the nickelback job, and JJ Roberts, Matt, was 1B. It wasn't like it was a close battle, but JJ Roberts was playing so well that it wasn't 1 and 2. It was, hey, you feel good, you feel comfortable with either one of those guys, even though the rookie's in the game.
And he was proving it too. Like, he had a really good game against the Tennessee Titans last week in that preseason game. Continued to make plays in practice and things like that, and continued to grow and progress and just become a better football player day in and day out. And the injury bug has hit the Bucs pretty early and pretty quickly. I mean, even going back to the Tristan Wirfs and Chris Godwin news before the Bucs even hit the field for like OTAs and stuff like that, or training camp when it comes to Tristan Wirfs. And then you see Walker. Now you see the newest injury with JJ Roberts. It's unfortunate. At least they're getting the injuries out of the way. Maybe it's like,
right?
Maybe the injury gods are saying we're gonna hit you early,
right,
instead of hitting you late, like we've done in the past. That's really the only thing that you can kind of look forward to, because the Bucs can't really afford many other injuries, and we'll see with Jalen McMillan as well. There's a video posted that he left the game, left the facility today, the stadium tonight, wearing a neck brace, but looked like it was more precautionary than anything else. He was smiling when he was on the cart, when he was going.
Gave the thumbs up. So you have to hope that's okay. Listen, when you play a game of chess, you're going to lose some pieces off the board. That's just how it is. Hopefully, any pieces that the Bucs lose are pawns. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful passion, but if you would ask me, would you rather lose David Walker or Hassan Reddick? That's an easy choice, right?
Sure.
Would you rather lose Zion McCollum or JJ Roberts? Like, that's an easy choice, right? Just because this is a season where you need all hands on deck. This is a team that has the talent to get to the Super Bowl and win it. We'll see if that actually happens, and health is going to play a big reason for the Bucs journey, and we'll see how far it ends up going. I will say, we talked about Teddy Bridgewater and how that was a big decision for this team to make and get some more experience coming in, because this team recognizes the Super Bowl window is open. And I'll tell you, Teddy Bridgewater, 3 practices essentially, 12 days on the roster.
Yeah.
He looked like a polished veteran. 2 beautiful passes. Was it perfect for Bridgewater tonight? No, but those touchdowns, especially that this is good coverage, folks. This is Peyton Wilson here covering Bucky Irving. Listen, perfect pass and perfect catch beats perfect coverage. That's just how it is, right? And that's exactly what happened here. Great play by Bridgewater. Fantastic catch on the fade route by Bucky Irving, Matt.
I loved everything about that play. One, because as we've talked about with Bucky Irving before, he can certainly be a receiving running back. He proved that last year, but I would venture to say that more often than not, like 90% of the catches Bucky Irving made were like screen passes or short swing passes. We never saw Bucky go down the field as a receiving running back the way he did on this touchdown. So that was an excellent sign for Bucky Irving and a great throw from Teddy Bridgewater. Now, it's crazy because Bridgewater's first practice with the Bucs was August 6th.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. And he didn't even really practice. He just kind of like warmed up and everything like that. But when I was at Carnegie Mellon University, Bridgewater got his most reps with the team at that moment. Then he got more reps, obviously, against the Steelers in that joint practice. But the one throw that Teddy Bridgewater consistently was hitting was the throw to the outside, where running an out route or going to the corner of the end zone. And that's exactly what you saw. I remember he had a beautiful ball to Ryan Miller in the front left pylon of the end zone during Wednesday's practice. Now, this throw to Emeka Egbuka was the back left pylon in the end zone.
Great touch. He really does.
Fantastic touch. Excellent timing, because I love what he said after, where he's like, I maybe threw one pass to Emeka Egbuka in practice since I've been with the Bucs.
Yeah.
And so that was like really my first opportunity to throw to him in a game. And my goodness, what a freaking catch by Emeka Egbuka. Sliding, staying in bounds, a great throw by Teddy Bridgewater. I know Kyle Trask didn't have the best day. I'm not trying to bury Kyle Trask just yet, because we praised him last week.
That's
looked good against Tennessee. Didn't look that good today. Now, certainly the receivers didn't help out as much either. But Teddy Bridgewater certainly makes the conversation for what do the Bucs do with QB2 if it comes to a crucial moment. Because even early on, before the touchdown throws, while the O-line, I think, overall was good pass blocking, they only allowed one sack in the game, and that was on Trask. Bridgewater still had to move and run around a little bit and stuff like that.
True.
He didn't play that much with the Lions, and he only signed 2 weeks ago, but he looked pretty good, pretty ready to go if called upon in a regular season game. So
certainly looks like he's played and won a lot of games, doesn't it?
Yes, it's a good problem the Bucs have a quarterback right now, because you got Baker, he's the guy, hopefully MVP conversation. Whatever they decide to do at QB2, I think they got a good option with Teddy Bridgewater. Kyle Trask, I still think, needs to get rid of the ball pretty quickly, and I felt that way against Tennessee despite his good game. But it's a good problem that the Bucs have with Teddy and Kyle Trask.
Certainly gives them options. Todd Bowles said this about Teddy Bridgewater's performance and how it stacks up with Kyle Trask. He said, this is by no means a demotion for Kyle. And you have to understand something, Pewter people. Todd Bowles and Jason Light love them some Kyle Trask. They do. Kyle Trask is a very popular player. He has great rapport and chemistry with these guys. He's been in the locker room for 5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Having Teddy Bridgewater on the team gives them a really good option in case something happens to Baker Mayfield for multiple games. I could see them take Kyle Trask into a game as the number 2 quarterback and use him to get out of a game, and then assess how many games Baker Mayfield might be out in a hypothetical situation, folks. I'm not speaking this into existence. Please don't think that. I'm just looking at all options here. And then I think the team would say, hey, we trust Teddy's experience in this situation. Kyle got us out of this game. Obviously, we're going to address both quarterbacks with Baker being out for X amount of games, whatever. But then they might look at turning the team over to Teddy Bridgewater in that instance. And that's exactly why he's here, right?
Yeah.
He also said, when he was asked, is there a legitimate battle for the number 2 quarterback job? Todd Bowles said, I don't know yet. I need to look at the film. Right. So the tape is not going to look good for Kyle Trask. And for you Traskaholics out there, listen, I'm going to pour one out for you. Okay. I'm going to pour one out for the Traskaholics. Kyle Trask has been here for 5 years. He has yet to play behind a starting offensive line here in Tampa at any point in time. I can't think of a preseason game, Matt, where he's played with the starters. Nor has he thrown to starting caliber wide receivers.
Right.
He's always been the number 2, even in the preseason. Okay, even when he started a preseason game like he did last week with the Titans game, it was with the number 2s. Okay, so Teddy Bridgewater shows up, has a cup of coffee in Tampa, and gets Emeka Egbuka, Jalen McMillan in your starting offensive line, and Bucky Irving and Cade Otton. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for Kyle Trask. Yeah. I do. Because I want to see what Kyle Trask can do in an alternate Marvel parallel universe, right? In the multiverse. Let me see what Kyle Trask can do in this game tonight for those drives, the first quarter, instead of Teddy Bridgewater. Could he do the same thing? Could he put up similar numbers or even better? I don't know. We don't know. That's the problem. And we didn't find out tonight because it didn't happen.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a surprise.
But what I do know is Teddy Bridgewater looked hella good out there. That's for sure.
And it's no surprise that Kyle Trask had one of his best preseason games when he got a little bit of Jalen McMillan and he got a little bit of Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah.
And it's always tough because when you don't have a good offensive line, and the offensive line certainly didn't do any of the quarterbacks any favors running the football tonight. I mean, the Bucs only had 43 rushing yards on the day.
It was a bad night running the ball.
Yeah, 41 rushing yards. The Bucs got nothing done on the ground game, even when Bucky Irving was in the game. But yeah, Trask going behind the second and third offensive line, that they did not really protect for him much either. So it was certainly a great night for Teddy Bridgewater, a bad night for Kyle Trask. But again, we're not here going to officially anoint Teddy Bridgewater because we'll see how it looks against the Bills. I mean, there's a chance. And Todd Bowles said after, he's like, I didn't want Teddy Bridgewater to come in with the third and fourth strings and get a look at him there. I wanted him to get a look with the starters. Now, if you want to say, well, he's only been here for a week or whatever the case may be, then so be it. But we'll see how it looks next week, too, going up against the Bills. We're obviously not going to see the starters, but do we see Teddy Bridgewater again? Do we see Kyle Trask again? Or is it just Connor Bazelak going out the whole game saying, hey, thanks for keeping everyone else healthy by going out there? So, yeah, I don't know. We also have to remember that Teddy Bridgewater's contract would become guaranteed if he's on the roster.
That's right.
Once roster cuts are done. So I don't know, in a weird way, I don't think Teddy Bridgewater, based on what he said today, where he's like, I'm just here to help in any way I can, because he got asked about the competition as well. I don't see Teddy Bridgewater spending training camp with the Bucs, getting cut, and then like signing as a quarterback on an active roster on another team.
Right.
Unless he, I don't know, unless he's lying to all of us, but I don't see that.
I agree. I think he would stay in Tampa. I think that was kind of what's been worked out. And there's a couple wink and nod deals here, too, because you got to remember, Chris Godwin's going to be on the 53-man roster. Tristan Wirfs is going to be in the 53-man roster. And some guys like Sterling Shepard, probably not going to be in the 53-man roster. I could see Sterling Shepard not be on the 53 for the same reason Teddy Bridgewater may not be, which is if you're a vested veteran and you're on the roster, an active roster for week one, your entire year's base salary is guaranteed. No team wants to be kind of locked into that. So what I could see happening is I could see them put Sterling Shepard on the practice squad for the first week, elevate him for the game so he's actually playing in Atlanta. But then week two, he gets elevated, those are some scenarios that the wink and the nods and the handshakes kind of happen between certain players and the front office, and it all kind of works out for both parties. We have some super chats to get to tonight, Matt, and we're going to have a lot more analysis coming up here because I've got a lot of notes.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even talked about Tez Johnson yet or Chris Braswell. Those are some big topics we definitely want to talk about as well. But we also don't want to keep everyone waiting who has super chatted us. So let's get it rocking and rolling, starting with the Bucs Basement. Thank you for this $5 super chat. Says, I've noticed teams that have an undefeated preseason normally don't do well in the regular season. Preseason wins just means the team is good depth. I don't know. I think the Ravens, they had like an undefeated streak in the preseason for
until they lost to the Bucs. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. The Ravens have perennially been a Super Bowl contender, getting to AFC championship games or at least the second round, winning their division. So I don't know. I mean, preseason games are so weird, so fluky. Sometimes you play the starter, sometimes you don't.
Right.
So.
It's not about the final score and who wins or loses. What I liked in it, and we said this in the graphic for tonight's show, this was a big play Buccaneer team. We saw Teddy Bridgewater with some big plays. We saw Tess Johnson with the 37-yard punt return. We saw 3 interceptions tonight by the defense. We saw 4 sacks in the game. We saw a lot of big plays, and that's really what was missing last year, especially on the defensive side.
Not enough Scott, that's plays. A great point, because there's really an argument to be made that once Teddy Bridgewater came out and the starters on defense came out, the Steelers played better than the Bucs from the second quarter up until the Antonio Greer interception at the end of the game. The Steelers played better than the Bucs once all of the starters came out, but they had built that lead and the defense held on. But then it was the big turnover by Vildor, the big turnover by Greer that set up the Bucs to win this game. So it was the splash plays that really were the biggest moment.
Yeah, no, you're right. And if you're looking for a silver lining for that backup defense, Pittsburgh's offense was actually pretty bad tonight. The third down defense for the Steelers, 2 of 12, 16.7%. So Todd Bowles' defense, even though it wasn't always pretty, and they needed a couple of those interceptions to seal this win and get the win for the Buccaneers, that's a pretty good stat. Todd's going to be pretty happy about that, generally speaking, from the starters to the third-string defense. When you hold a team to 16.7% on third down, and they were only 1 of 2 on fourth down, too, so it wasn't like the Steelers were just cashing in on fourth down rather than third. That's good. Todd Bowles said after the game, and I quote, "Turnovers win games." Again, folks, 6 interceptions in 2 games. Wow. Right. Novel concept, Matt. When you don't have cushion and you play tight coverage, good things happen.
Hopefully they keep it for the regular season. By the way, shout out to Chris Peach. Thank you for becoming a Pewter Report YouTube channel member.
Chris.
We appreciate you, and welcome to Pewter Report TV. We have a $4.99 super chat from Mark Fisher. Thank you, Rev Fish, for this $4.99. Says, backup O-line minus Elijah Klein was awful, in my opinion. Starters did great, but then were outplayed. Steelers wide receivers were wide open quite a bit after the first quarter.
I think Kendall Vildor played pretty well tonight. And I thought Javian Farr had some good reps as well in nickel. He's the kid from Augustana who's never really played nickel. He was an outside cornerback, and I thought made some plays. He stood out. I agree about the second string offensive line. I thought Ben Chukwuma had some good reps. He did have a false start.
Yeah.
It wasn't always clean. I thought he was probably the second best offensive lineman on that second string. I thought Ben Scott was bad. Luke Haggard did not excite me. Tyler McClellan was bad. It just was not good. The Buccaneers ran for 1.7 yards per carry. That's not going to make Josh Grizzard happy.
They had a 4th and 1. They weren't able to convert as well, which wasn't great.
Yep, exactly. And listen, some of these play calls were vanilla by Josh Grizzard, but you want to see, like, for example, when Jacob Harris came and kind of like played that wing back and just stopped, it's like everyone knew where the ball was going.
Yeah.
but that's kind of by design. It's like, okay, the defense knows what's coming. Can the offense still execute and get a yard, right? That's the thing. And of course they couldn't. But as Todd Bowles said after the game, and I quote, "Have to find ways to open the run game. Pittsburgh had a stifling front." And that's true. And I thought Graham Barton did not have a great game either.
No.
He got penetration a couple times. And I've tried to be very fair with Graham because I don't watch the center position every single play. But he's been owned by Vita Vea, which, asterisk, that happens. Okay.
Yeah.
That happens to everybody. But Graham Barton he's not shown me that he has taken that step yet, where he's like clearly night and day better than he was last year. So I think he's still a work in progress, and that's okay. He's still a very young player.
Yeah, he's only a second-year player. It's not...
Yeah, something to keep an eye on, though. We haven't seen greatness out of Graham Barton yet, so keep an eye on Graham.
These next 2 super chats are about the same player, so we'll read both of them. Thanks to Mark Fisher with the $1.99 super chat. Says, still good to win. Braswell not splashy, but did his job. Buck Spacing with the $2 super chat. Thank you. Says, ready for a convo about second round bust. Chris Interesting that you said bust there. Now, obviously, last week was not his best performance, but
Right.
tonight he played much better. He had a
Yeah.
sack with blitzing Christian Izien.
Yeah.
He
Good in
forced a
coverage.
holding. He forced a holding penalty as well right before the end of the half. I thought this was a step in the right direction for Chris Braswell,
Yeah, I
considering the
agree.
criticism that had been given to him after that first game.
I think that's fair. It looked better. Matt, we saw that ghost step tonight get a sack. We saw that in training camp a couple times. That's new to his repertoire, where he does that little hop step and it kind of helps him turn the corner. The tape was not good last week. This is a step in the right direction. Anthony Nelson didn't play, right? And so you had Warren Peoples out there who I love Warren Peoples rushing the quarterback. I do not like Warren Peoples at all in run defense, especially when they're running right at him. He's 230 pounds. It does not look pretty. It does not end well for Warren Peoples. That's understandable given the fact he's about 15 pounds lighter than any other Buccaneer edge rusher. I mean, Hassan Reddick's not a big guy, but he plays tougher, bigger than he is. Better. There were a couple of times where he lost contain, and I've noticed that too from Yaya Diaby on a couple of plays. He allowed a scramble to the outside. It takes discipline to be a young edge rusher and not want to go inside. You see that little crevice, that crack, that opening, and and you can feel the tackle riding you outside. And you're like, oh, let me just dart right in because the quarterback's right there. The problem is all it takes is that tackle just to do this.
Yeah.
And then you get smushed into the guard and that door closes. Now your contain responsibility is gone. I'm going to ask Todd Bowles about that tomorrow morning. And I kind of know what the answer is going to be, unless Todd's going to be very forgiving. He's not going to be terribly happy with the contain in pass rush situations. His ends did not do a great job setting the edge.
Yeah, there were a couple of times, regardless of who was in, where the quarterback was able to scramble to the outside. There was one where someone blitzed off the edge. It was a corner, and they weren't able to.
Chris Braswell.
Braswell and Izien. Yeah, there was another one too where it's just like, kind of what we've seen from the Bucs in the past, where they're so close to taking the quarterback, and they have a hand on his jersey and still able to kind of escape. That kind of happened too with Mason Rudolph in the touchdown, their first one, where Jamel Dean had allowed it. The pressure was there. Vita Vea was there. One of the edges was there as well, but Rudolph was able to skate by and fire off the throw for the touchdown. So that definitely needs to be cleaned up by the start of the regular season. Totally agree.
Warren Sapp, the best Buccaneer in franchise history, in my opinion. Hall of Famer once told me, and it stuck with me. And when I was coaching defensive line at Pop Warner, I would tell this to my kids each year. When you are rushing up front, whether it's 4, whether it's 5, whatever, right? 5 with the blitz, 4 with your 4-man front, you cannot punch somebody with 4 fingers, right? You can't do this. You're going to break your fingers.
Yeah.
This is not a pass rush. This is a pass rush. Mm-hmm. Everybody coming together, balling up and making a fist. Then you can do some damage. And what that means is understanding where your rush lanes are, understanding where the blitzer's coming from. And there were so many opportunities. And I talked to Yaya Diaby about this. I'm like, dude, you're going to be in position to get so many cleanup sacks this year because you're going to have Hassan Reddick coming in the face of the quarterback, coming off the left edge against the right tackle in the face of the quarterback. You got Vita Vea and Kalasha Kancey, right? Penetrating up the middle. That quarterback is going to be flushed your way. You just have to be in position to get those cleanup sacks. And I think Yaya can easily get to double digits this year. He can probably have 4 to 5 cleanup sacks and probably 5 or 6 individual one-on-one wins, right? And that's how you go from being a good defensive end, a good edge rusher, to having a Pro Bowl type season, is getting those cleanup sacks. And it's great when you have the bookends. The Bucs are going to see that in week 2. You've got a pair of double-digit sackers in Houston. Will Anderson Jr. on one side, Daniil Hunter on the other. The Jets have got a nice 1-2 punch on the outside. Will McDonald on one side, Jermaine Johnson on the other side. Both those guys first-round picks. Diaby has the chance to form that bookend with the Hassan Reddick, but he's got to stay home. He's got to maintain his gap integrity and just sometimes slow play it. Sometimes Don't get washed up too far up the field.
Right.
Don't try to, chase the cheese and go inside. If you're the mouse, that's not how you play this game. You've got to form the fist and pass rush the right way and understand it's a group effort up front.
Fundamentals still very important in today's NFL. Paul, aka OG Baker Bro, has now been a Pewter Report YouTube channel member for an entire year. Thank you for your support.
Appreciate it.
12 months. Says, don't look now, but there may be a quarterback 2 controversy brewing. Trask did himself no favors with his performance tonight. Also, Shiloh will be lucky, and in all caps, lucky to make the practice squad.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you take a step forward, you take a step back. I mean, I hate to say it, but like injuries are a part of the game. It's next man up. That's just how it is, right? Ask Tom Brady. Okay. If not for Drew Bledsoe's injury, Tom Brady might not be Tom Brady. Yeah. So having said that, not like the field was cleared for Shiloh Sanders to make the team, but Shiloh Sanders was basically battling 2 people for 1 roster spot.
Yeah.
Kayvon Merriweather, the experienced veteran who had 4 tackles tonight and looked good. And he looked good last week too. And J.J. Roberts, because J.J. Roberts is technically a safety. He would have been moonlighting as a backup nickel. J.J. Roberts, says Pewter Report broke the story earlier today, out for the season with a knee injury. That kind of cleared the deck a little bit. It's 1-on-1, and Kayvon Merriweather has the edge heading into the 3rd preseason game. If you're a Shiloh Sanders fan, I'm not slinging any hate your guys' way. I'm just telling you like it is. It is Shiloh Sanders is well liked. He's got to play great football, and we have not seen that yet. Kayvon Merriweather has 2 years going on 3 years worth of experience in Todd Bowles' defense. Do you think that a team with Super Bowl aspirations is going to take Shiloh Sanders, an unproven, undrafted free agent rookie, over someone like Kayvon Merriweather, even for safety number 4 on this team?
No.
Not this year. A couple years ago, maybe. Not this year. Shiloh's got to do something like we've seen from John Bullock, like we've seen from Nick Jackson, where those 2 linebackers are trying to force their way on the roster and say, Todd Bowles, damn it, you're going to keep 5 inside linebackers. Not 4, 5. And that's what Shiloh has to do. And that's why I did that Pewter Pulse video. He has got to make some plays. He has got to splash like Roman Parody did last week, like J.J. Roberts did last week, like Antonio Greer did tonight, like Kendall Vildor did tonight. He has to show up and show out. And he's got one more game to do it.
He's going to get all the opportunities, especially with Roberts out, and he's going to play a majority of that 3rd preseason game, if not every single snap, at least offensively in that game.
Yeah,
I like Shiloh. He just doesn't have the speed at the NFL level. I mean, I remember specifically in the joint practice with the Steelers, like we were allowed to pretty much go everywhere on the field.
Yeah.
And so I had just gotten over to the side where the Bucs defense was. And Shiloh, again, is good up at the line of scrimmage when he's blitzing and stuff like that. But on this one, he crept up a little bit, but then he went back on defense. And he just didn't have the speed. He had 10 yards to cover.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the speed to get there in time and break up the play. And, that's a play Antoine Holyfield Jr. runs up, knocks it away. J.J. Roberts runs up and knocks it away. Shiloh just didn't have it on that play specifically. And then in the game, he was up at the line of scrimmage, had a chance to make some tackles and kind of whiffed on some tackles too. He doesn't have the speed, and he's physical to a degree, but I don't know about the open field tackles, as King Cook says. Shiloh misses a lot of tackles. He's not the best form tackler by any means. And again, he's a very likable player. He's fun for his YouTube videos and things like that.
I think he's got a chance at the practice squad. I do.
So do I.
But he's got. Here's the thing. Kayvon Merriweather had 2 interceptions in training camp, Matt.
Yes.
Shiloh Sanders is probably the only defensive back now without an interception.
Yeah, now that Zion has one. And Shiloh, he'll make a pass breakup, and he'll go crazy, and the crowd will too. But, that'll only take you so far.
Yep.
Football fan with a $9.99 super chat, thank you very much, says, who was your favorite player tonight?
For me, Teddy Bridgewater, what he did was impressive, just because those 2 touch throws were tremendous. And so I got to go with Bridgewater. I was not expecting him to come out and just hit the veteran button, and just say, I'm going to throw 2 crazy touchdowns tonight. And they had crazy touch, the beautiful touch to Bucky Irving on the 15-yard fade route. It was on the money. And then, it's so easy to throw that back of the end zone, kind of back of the pylon pass out of bounds.
Yeah.
The one that Emeka Egbuka caught, like a diving, sliding catch. And it just kind of almost like a putt, right? Like a sand wedge where it just kind of like pops over onto the green and just rolls. And it's just right there, right by the cup. That's exactly what that pass was like. It's like for a second, I thought, he's leading him out of bounds. Nope. It just dropped right in about a foot in bounds. And Emeka Egbuka was there to catch it. So how could you not be impressed with what you saw by Teddy Bridgewater tonight?
Very impressive from Teddy Bridgewater. I'm going to go with the player that was involved more in the game, and that's Kindle Vildor. I know we already spoke about him, but again, his interception is the mantra that Todd Bowles has been talking about this entire season.
Great
tight, close coverage, knocks the ball up. Yes, the concentration to intercept it, start going the other way. There was an illegal block in the back penalty on Christian Izien, but nonetheless, the wherewithal to keep moving down the field. Probably should have had another interception on that deep ball down the field, but nice job staying in coverage and at least getting the incompletion on it. Also, missed a tackle on one spot, but it wasn't a perfect game. But overall, I thought he did really well and has a spot on this team.
Yeah, Jonas Steckler says, "What? Scott didn't say Parrish." Fellow K-State alum who makes K-State proud. Yeah, he had a great game. We talked about it. I'm a huge Jacob Parrish fan. He's actually playing better than I expected him to play. I mean, he's exceeding my expectations, and I had some pretty high expectations for him when he came in here. And he's playing like a cool cucumber, man. He just seems unfazed and unrattled. That's kind of how he was. He was a true starter at Kansas State as a true freshman. I mean, he just came in and just beat out some experienced guys, very much like how Benjamin Morrison was at Notre Dame, Matt. We got to get Benjamin Morrison healthy so he can show what he can do.
No, for sure. I mean, if you were to ask me right after the draft, who's going to stand out more in the preseason between Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish, because they were back-to-back picks and defensive backs, I would have said Benjamin Morrison. And the odds would have been minus 400 for Benjamin Morrison and probably plus 350 for Jacob Parrish. But Jacob Parrish is, real. Like some people, like Shiloh Sanders, might be the benefit of other players getting injured or missing time. That's not the case for Jacob Parrish, even though Benjamin Morrison has not been available. He has done it all on his own, even going back to rookie minicamp. Yeah. He was going and making plays. So that's been a nice breath of fresh air for Tampa Bay when all these other injuries are swarming around this team. Jacob Parrish and Emeka Egbuka have been fantastic with their results early on from this year's draft class.
Yeah, Christopher Oxentine, who lives in Overland Park, Kansas, my hometown, stomping ground, says, I didn't know Parrish was a 913. Olathe North kid. Yeah, that's right. He's from Kansas City kid, too. That's pretty cool. We'll have some conversations about barbecue. I'll have to quiz Jacob on his best barbecue joint when they have open locker room sessions again, which will be soon. I mean, the preseason's wrapping up and training camp is wrapped up. And, folks, speaking of Kansas State, my Wildcats play a week away, the 23rd. That's next week. That's awesome. In Ireland, yeah. And our friends over at USF, they played just a couple days later. That's right. The USF Bulls are taking on the number 25 ranked Boise State Broncos on August 28th, Thursday night at 5:30.
Facing pressure. Ransom's going down. Get your South Florida football tickets today.
Hey, I'm a Kansas State Wildcat, but I think I'm going to go to that game. It's Thursday night at 5:30. I got nothing else to do. I'll write the Fab Five before I go, I promise. But listen, this is a hell of a game. This is a playoff team last year. Granted, they don't have Ashton Genty, but they're ranked 25th. You have USF coming off of a bowl win. The arrow's pointing up with this team with Alex Golish. I respect the hell out of him as a coach. Yeah. And I love his swagger too, Matt. So why don't you join me at the game August 28th, 5:30 start. It's a fantastic reason to skip work or play hooky, and have to leave early. Get to the stadium and watch college football live at Raymond James Stadium. Scan the QR code to purchase your tickets. And I'm also going to be at the FAU homecoming game on October 18th. So I'm going to attend a couple of USF Bulls games this year. And they're Tampa's team. So why not? Get there August 28th, 5:30. Scan that QR code and support the USF Bulls.
Yeah, going to be a good time. Should be a good season for USF as well. I like their coach too, Coach Golish.
Yeah.
A couple more Super Chats to get to, but also I think we got to talk about Tez Johnson and the night that he had, because it was his first NFL game preseason, but his first preseason game, he missed the one against Tennessee. And it was a very interesting outing for Tez Johnson today, or tonight, I should say. A little bit of up and down. First of all, electrified.
We laughed, we cried.
Yes, exactly. Electrified early on with his 34-yard punt return. It was exactly what we wanted to see from this punt return game, for what we wanted to see from Tez Johnson specifically. Later on, he made a catch and immediately made a defender miss. And it was like, oh, yes, this is what we want to see from him as a receiver. But then the return game just went downhill for him. It was almost like he forgot how to catch punts after, because he let one drop at like the 20 and went back to the 12.
Yep.
Then he obviously made the mistake with the fair catch, let the ball drop, and then touched it, couldn't pick it up, and the Steelers recovered and ended up with the Steelers' next touchdown to tie the game up. And he also had a drop on a ball over the middle that would have been a big-time game.
Yes.
So a little bit of great, a little bit of bad. I think that's kind of what you're going to expect from a 7th-round draft pick like Tez Johnson. I think there was enough there to be like, okay, he's got a good foundation. Let's see what he can do next. I still think the positives outweighed the negatives for Tez Johnson in this game.
I think you're right. I was excited to see him. He did kind of whet your appetite with some big plays. This is what preseason's for. Muff the punt now so it gets out of your system, so you learn a lesson. And I think that's what Todd Bowles had to say about that is it was a good learning lesson. He played fast and played hard. That's what Bowles said about Tez Johnson. So very typical for a rookie wide receiver, right? Who's having to try to win the punt return job. I think I tweeted out after his big, return, just because we haven't seen any big returns in a long time, Matt. Give him the job. He knows what he's doing back there. I think he's not going to muff any more punts. I'd be surprised if that happened. This was a big learning lesson. But I like him. I think with Chris Godwin's injury, he's going to make this team. He's going to be on the 53. He'll be active on game days. And I think he can help this offense. We saw the quick wide receiver screen game, and we've seen it with Ryan Miller now. We saw it with Garrett Green and the game. Tez Johnson can make that happen too. We've seen that in practice a lot. He's electric. He can make the first guy and sometimes the second guy miss. And speaking of that, how about Josh Grizzard tonight? 3 plays in a row going empty backfield. Go back and watch, folks. The touchdown pass to Bucky Irving was empty. Now, they're running this out of 11 personnel, so you still have Bucky Irving on the field. You have Cade Otton, but they essentially go 5 wide. And you're like, wow, that's interesting. And I think the reason why they want to do that is, can they trust Charlie Heck in those one-on-one situations?
Yeah.
And I think Charlie Heck did a pretty good job tonight. Outside of the false start, he did a pretty good job and held up pretty well in those. I think he got beat one time inside on a speed rush on that first drive that didn't produce points when Teddy Bridgewater was in there. I think it was the opening drive. After that, I thought he settled in pretty quickly. But then after the touchdown pass, the next 2 plays on the Bucs following possession, Grizzard goes empty again. Same personnel grouping, 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 receivers, but he goes empty. I'm like, damn, Josh, empty 3 plays in a row? We're going to have him on the Pewter Report podcast, I think, this week. His people are talking to my people, and we're going to have him on. We're thinking Wednesday. That's where we're trying to kind of find the schedule and get him on. But I can't wait to ask him about that, because that was a bold move that kind of surprised me, Matt.
Yeah, getting different looks for sure with Josh Grizzard. And I do agree. I think Charlie Heck, again, I kind of said this on the Pewter Insider yesterday didn't see Charlie Heck or didn't notice Charlie Heck
Yeah.
too much during the joint practice against the Steelers. And that's probably a good thing. I think that was the same thing tonight where, yes, there was the false start penalty early, but after that, he really seemed good to go. And if the Bucs want to go with with an empty backfield, then hopefully we get more of the receiving from Bucky Irving that we were witnessing tonight. By the way, Rolf Steinbauer says, "What's up with Otten?" Cade Otten has been in a weird funk since he's come back. Had that drop today, which was very surprising. Had a fumble against the Steelers in the joint practice. I'm not saying he's not 100% just yet, but I don't know. Haven't loved what I've seen from Cade Otten since he has returned after missing some time.
He was out for 3 weeks. I think he's rusty. I think he's just got to shake the rust off and kind of get back in the flow of things. And it seems like the game is sped up a little bit for him, and it needs to kind of slow down. And sometimes that can happen if you're just standing around watching practice for 3 weeks, But we'll see.
Right. A couple more super chats to get to. Marshall Walker, who's also a Pewter Report YouTube channel member. Thank you very much. And thanks for the $4.99. Says, what's your opinion of D1 rush? I was hoping for some edge pressure.
I thought there were a couple of decent rushes. Again, it's going to have to be Yaya Diaby's got to set the edge, not just the run game, but he's got to have contain. I saw Braswell and I saw Diaby do that, and they gave up some quarterback rollouts, and that's not uncommon for young, eager pass rushers, and they're just going to have to learn how to stay home, do your job, don't try to do too much, don't chase sacks, let them come to you sometimes, because if you're in the right spot, the right time, they will show up.
Right. I think the whole first unit looked fine. I mean, Vita Vea, I feel like, gets into some bad situations where he wins the rep by annihilating the offensive lineman in front of them, but he pancakes the offensive lineman. So then he has to, jump over the offensive lineman, which costs him another 2 seconds. And at that point, quarterback obviously sees it right in front of him and knows that he's got to get rid of it. So sometimes Vita Vea almost, and it's not his fault, but he almost sets up his own roadblock based on the pancake that he had. And I thought he had one today kind of earlier on in the game. I thought Hassan Reddick looked fine. And I mean, this is going to be a really good front four if everybody's healthy, with Kalijah Cansey, who
for sure,
thank goodness has gotten through most of training camp so far, and hopefully that continues. But I still feel pretty good about this pass rush for the Bucs, especially with Hassan Reddick. And let's remember, as bad as it was with the 4-man rush, if worst case scenario, Todd Bowles will start blitzing, the Bucs were still a team that were top 10 in sacks last year. It's how will they go about it? But I think they're going to be okay.
If you blitz and you have the tight coverage, you're not going to give up completions. You're going to have more pass breakouts.
Exactly.
You're going to get off the field on third down more. You're going to create more takeaways. So, even if the front four doesn't get home and Bowles is forced to blitz a little bit, as long as the coverage is tighter this year, I think they're going to be okay.
Exactly. It's all one full movement. It's like water all going
downstream.
It goes right. Yeah, all going downstream. We don't want to roll downhill, but we want we want everything else to go in downstream in a good way. Paul, aka OG Baker Bro, thanks for the $5 super chat, says, more important than any Bucs injuries, when does Matty Diamond start dropping picks? My wallet needs fattening up. So I'm going to do a Pewter Picks and Props with the basis of the episode being futures picks to go with, like over under the Bucs win total, certain over unders on Baker Mayfield stats and Bucky Irving and Mike Evans and a lot of the top players. That will be like its own episode. I'm going to do it right around Labor Day, maybe right before or right after, to give everyone time to place in those bets. I think I'll also have a college. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you do it before that weekend of college football and include some college picks in there too?
So that was my next thing, is I might do then a second video just with the college football games for that August 30th, because I cannot wait for the lineup that they have of Ohio State, Texas at noon,
Yep.
Florida State, Alabama at 3:30. Now, Florida State might get smoked because they obviously stunk last year, and Alabama's in Alabama. And then the Battle of the Tigers and your boy Wade Woodaz, Clemson against LSU that night. I cannot wait. I'm excited for Iowa State, Kansas State in the Ireland game. But August 3rd, the first full week of college football, Labor Day weekend, then some games on Sunday, and then Bill Belichick makes his debut that Monday, Labor Day night. So I'm going to have 2 episodes for that coming up on Pewter Picks and Props. And then, when the Bucs play September 7th, we'll have a look at that game, some prop bets for that specific game as well, and then some picks throughout the league and college football too. So it's coming up around the corner. Thank you for asking. And we'll get it rocking and rolling. Q's44 wants to know, how did Riley Dixon do? He was certainly busy, Scott.
He was. As Kathy Gillespie says, on a positive note, our punter got lots of reps. Yes, and boy, did he make those count. 50.4 yards per punt average with a very healthy 43.6 yard net, 2 downed inside the 20, and 1 touchback. That was a very successful night for Riley Dixon. He looked good. The punts were booming. The coverage was good. I think Todd Bowles was very happy about that. I know that I was. The only thing that makes me happier than seeing good punting, Matt, how's that for a Mark Cook settling? Is going to walk-ons for happy hour. It's the best happy hour around, folks. And here's the deal. Yeah, I know. We'll technically have a victory Monday, right? Because they won Saturday night. They won tonight. So we'll have a victory Monday. So celebrate your victory Monday at walk-ons. They have happy hour from 3 p.m. to close. They have $5 margaritas, too. Their house margaritas are fantastic. $5. Can't beat that. And then on Tuesday, they have all day happy hour, open to close, $5 Tito's. Wednesday and Thursday have 2 different happy hours, 3 to 6 and 9 to close. So if you're looking for a place to watch all these college football games that we're talking about, watch the NFL games, do it at walk-ons, 3 locations to serve you. Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, and Lakeland. $3.99 domestic pints, $5 premium house pours or happy hour wines, $5.49 22-ounce domestic drafts, $4 for the hush puppies or onion rings, $7 for the boom boom shrimp, half a order of waffle cheese fries, or the spinach and artichoke dip, which I absolutely love. And I really don't like spinach and artichoke dip, but it's very good there. $8 for the boneless wings or the cheeseburger sliders. I make a meal out of those. Folks, eat like a winner, drink like a champ. If you've not been to walk-ons, what are you doing? Get to walk-ons.
I cannot wait for this football season. I'm so excited for the Bucs. I'm so excited for the NFL to be back. I think there's a lot of great storylines. And college football, I've grown so much more of an appreciation over the past couple of years. And, ever since really I've moved to Florida, to seeing the passion there and, watching all these games on Saturday. So, head out to walk-ons. Watch all the football you possibly can. We're getting into the best time of the year, and that's when football is around. Yeah.
Just wrap up the show. We saw Josh Williams tonight, and he looked as good as advertised. We've seen him in training camp. He was out the first preseason game because he's been dealing with the hamstring injury. He looked like the guy the Bucs were hoping to get. Does a great job of following his blocks, finding the open space, and getting there. He's a tough, hard-nosed runner. Looks like the guy that we saw at LSU. I think the Bucs are really going to have to think long and hard. Can they risk this guy getting to the practice squad? Can they keep 3 running backs? Do they need to keep 4? That's going to be an interesting roster question for Jason Light and company. The other thing, too, Jamel Dean, not a good night. Probably the low light of tonight, Matt.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it was because it was all back-to-back. It was allowing the big play, then it was the clearance penalty, and then giving up the touchdown as well. Not ideal for Jamel Dean. And by the way, Josh Williams, who you just mentioned, running game was not good, but led the team with 21 yards, average 4.2. That was the most average yards per rush between all the running backs. Bucky Irving had 3 more carries than him and only averaged 1.5. So
as Jonas Steckler says, shout out to Coach Bowles for his end-game use of timeouts. He and Josh Grizzard did a great job of working together, and Josh saying, wait a minute, I don't want to run a play here. I want my quarterback to essentially take a knee, but I want him to kind of move it over to the middle. Just really good teamwork by Grizzard and Bowles. Josh Grizzard is going to be up in the booth for the Buffalo Bills game next week just to see if he likes the bird's eye view of the field or if he wants to be on the sidelines. I kind of like him on the sidelines. I kind of like him down there being able to talk to Baker, being right next to Bowles. I think it worked well with Dave Canales. It worked well with Liam Cohen. But as as Todd Bowles said tonight, he wants Josh to be wherever Josh feels more comfortable.
That's where I like Josh Grizzard, wherever he feels best. So yeah, it'll be something to pay attention to for that last preseason game when the Bucs host the Buffalo Bills next Saturday night. By the way, if you're not already doing so, please make sure you are following us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We are at Pewter Report. And our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment on this video what you thought about tonight's game.
Yeah.
We'll be back on Monday at 4 o'clock. We'll have roll call. It's Victory Monday. We'll have updates because we speak to Todd Bowles tomorrow via Zoom. We'll have some injury updates and all of that good stuff. And we'll talk more about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers then. So until that Monday show, for Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everybody for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you soon for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.